नमस्कार। आज के भारत स्पीक्स विद टीम न्यूज़ आवर में मैं आपका होस्ट अमित भाटिया बहुत-बहुत स्वागत करता हूँ। हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं डॉक्टर बोस। हेलो डॉक्टर बोस, हाउ आर यू?
I'm good, Amit ji, and how are you? It's a
आई एम
pleasure to
रियली
come
गुड,
here.
थैंक यू। इंडीड इट्स अ प्लेजर टू हैव यू सर। तो आज हम जिस विषय पे बात करेंगे, आई थिंक वी ऑलरेडी हैव the issues going on in our neighborhood. We have several neighbors, and lots of them being part of the subcontinent mostly, actually. So, we'll आज जो है, we have issues with Sri Lanka, where there is economic crisis, and we have historical connections as well as it's been part of this whole subcontinent. I mean, ever since probably the planet has been formed. And उसके साथ ही बात करेंगे नेपाल की. It's a very important part of the Indian subcontinent. It's a Himalayan kingdom, जिसको कहते हैं, and traditionally it has been part of जो अखंड भारत का भाग कह सकते हैं. इसके अलावा भूटान एक हिमालय का ही पार्ट है और भारतीय उपमहाद्वीप का ही भाग है. तो उसके बारे में भी डॉक्टर साहब से बात करेंगे. डॉक्टर बोस, we'll start with Sri Lanka. I think, I mean, it will be good if you could tell us about something what's going on there with respect to the economic crisis there right now, as well as if you could give us some perspective on the historical side and how we must look at it.
Amit ji, all due respect, मैं start करना चाहता हूँ नेपाल से. Nepal, Bhutan, then I'll go to Sri Lanka because Sri Lanka will be the longest one. तो उसमें थोड़ा सा time लगेगा. So I just want to finish off with the easiest ones. देखिए, sure. We all know that Nepal in the last decade were very much, last 2 decades were very much under the Chinese influence, Chinese and Pakistani influence. And उस टाइम पे हमारे जो गवर्नमेंट थे उन पे उतना वो they never thought in that way that Nepal can be of great help and one of our neighbors, and we could also help them equally so that we can restore the peace and tranquility in this and harmony in that subcontinent area. और ये हमारे पिछले सरकारों का क्या बताएं कि उनके नेग्लिजेंस के लिए आज नेपाल चाइना के इन्फ्लुएंस पे आ जाता है, एंड नेपाल हैज बीन शिफ्टेड इनटू अ कंप्लीट माओइस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड माओइस्ट कंट्री अंडर द लीडरशिप ऑफ अ माओइस्ट लीडर कॉल्ड प्रचंडा. और प्रचंडा was so close to the Chinese government officials that the Chinese ambassador to Nepal, she was, she used to have the lunch and dinner in the Prachanda's residence. So that was the consequence. Some people used to make a mockery of them that Prachanda's girlfriend. Now, that was not the situation. The situation was like, we all know that our biggest enemy is China. And China always have an intention to break India into multiple pieces. And following that, China cannot enter India in this particular scenario. So what China has done, China started creating concussion on different sectors of India. In the northeastern sector, we have Bangladesh. In the northern sector, we have Nepal. In the northwestern sector, we have Pakistan. So China started creating this concussion theory to squeeze India whichever way that can be possible. Plus, China also had some implanted sleeper cells in the by means of communist Maoists inside India, who are also creating internal concussion so that it will definitely pressurize and suppress the government of India to bend in front of the Chinese government. However, the present government is so strong and so bullish, they didn't bend in front of the Chinese government, and the Chinese have to kneel down in front of our government, by which the support of the Nepalese people and the support from India, even during the COVID time, Although Nepal has blocked everything from India, no trade will be coming from India to Nepal, go from India to Nepal and Nepal to India. Indian government, irrespective of that, during the time of COVID, we have supplied them food, water, and medicines, and which has changed the optics from the pro-Maoist government to a pro-nationalist government. And that's why Prachanda has been kicked out of his regime, and the Chinese government's plans, Chinese conspired plans, has been crushed in the middle of its hatching. And the new government forms, who is a nationalist, and he is rethinking of bonding and cementing the relationship between India and Nepal more than before. So, which is indeed a very good plan, a very good gesture, and India is also supporting Nepal from whichever way it is possible. So, that is one of the reasons. Now, one important factor is that Nepal, nowadays, Nepal is under the constraint of complete, nationalist government. So, Nepal is very much concerned about that. If we have a very good relationship with India, Nepal's economy will definitely soar in. Nepal will also get food and fertilizers from India. Nepal will also get the security from India. So Nepal is happy because India is the only country in the entire world who never think of encroaching its neighbors' land, attacking its neighbors, or acting on its neighbors as a first policy. So this had given India the motto of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam has actually worked out in Nepal. So now we are seeing that Nepal has successfully came out of the clasp of the Chinese. Now comes Bhutan. See, there is a history of the Bhutanese with the Chinese. The other side of Bhutan, the back side of Bhutan, is the Tibet sector, and China trying to create a lot many stirs in that sector. But the Bhutia government, they know it very well that India is a strong partner. If there is no India, then Bhutan has long back would have been a part of China. But Indian Army has a headquarters inside Bhutan, supporting the Bhutanese army. The Bhutanese army is getting trained from the Indian Army. Our governments are completely connected with each other in a very beautiful manner. And I think I completely agree. In diplomacy, there are some potholes, but China is trying its level best to confuse and conquer Bhutanese, but Bhutanese people will not let it go. And whatever they're trying to do by bridging some relationships, they can do obviously as a SAARC country, but when it comes to do something against India, sitting in Bhutan, India will not allow it. India will be very firm, and also Bhutan also know that, because if India move out of Bhutan, Bhutan will not restore and not able to sustain just for a single day also, because China will take it and China will crush it. So seeing Nepal, observing Nepal very closely, Bhutan has realized its mistakes. So now Bhutan is also recovering from that mistake, that they should not fall in the hand of the Chinese. So this is a very typical theory of geopolitics that we always observe. We learn from others, and that is one of the reasons. Now coming to China, Sri Lanka. Now this is the most important sector. Compared to Nepal and Bhutan, Sri Lanka is quite a bigger country. And recently, we have seen that Pakistan has been completely ransacked and ruined by economically by the Chinese government. Why? Because China is just acting like a parasite. China comes to the country, sucks the blood, and make the country live a life as if it's dead. So that is the motto of the Chinese. China has no affair, no love, no respect for any other country except China. That's why China always believe in one China policy. Interestingly, in Sri Lanka, few years back, China showed interest in its one of the biggest port called as Hambantota. Now, I have written some articles. I'm just putting out that from my own stuff. In case of Sri Lanka, see, Sri Lanka was saddled with an annual foreign debt settlement of $4.5 billion US dollar, and for foreseeable future. What happened?
Uh, Actually, in April 2021, uh, there were a lot many things happened in before it at 2021. In 2020, during the COVID era, Sri Lanka has been slapped with lot many economic disintegration, with no money, no milk, no food products, because people are standing in the queues, and the like short-sightedness of its president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He thought that he can call the Chinese in his backyard, and then he can pull their ears, twist their ears, and he can get his work done. But the Chinese proved smarter than Rajapaksa, and they told him that, okay, fine, we can work with you, but all you have to do is that you have to buy fertilizers from us. But what Rajapaksa said that, okay, fine, I don't want any importing. He don't want to import fertilizers from foreign countries, and on the same time, he don't want his money, American dollars, going out of Sri Lanka. He wants to kill a bird with two birds with one stone. And that was the biggest mistake, because too much of excessive smartness proved him wrong. What happened? In this span of time, he and by like he believed in prohibition on chemical fertilizer would increase his popularity. What he thought, by prohibiting the chemical fertilizer will increase his popularity among the people, and stopping the importation of fertilizers, and including and saving some American dollars, it will be definitely adding feathers in his hat. But what happened? This thing backfired drastically, and protest erupted across the city, and this land up in such a bad situation that he don't even have proper. He don't have enough enough fertilizers and enough food and vegetables, or enough thing for his own production, harvesting for his own production. So at this point of time, they catch hold of Chinese fertilizer company called as Qingdao Seawind Biotech. Qingdao Seawind Biotech. It's a big Chinese fertilizer company, and they said, okay, fine, we will give you fertilizers on lease. You have to pay EMI as every country do, and we will pay you. We will give you the fertilizers. Eventually, after started using those fertilizers, they find an existence of a microorganism called as Arwenia. Arwenia is an organism injected inside that fertilizer of China that helps in crop failure. Now, this is the main point. Arwenia is a microorganism used in embedded inside the fertilizer, Chinese fertilizers supplied by Qingdao Seawind Biotech, China, that propels a maximum failure of fertilizer, failure of crop at the last moment. मतलब 6 महीने के बाद, मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल अगर 2 महीना या 3 महीने के बाद एक क्रॉप का हार्वेस्टिंग होता है, 11th आवर पे जाके आपको मालूम पड़ता है कि आपका क्रॉप हार्वेस्ट नहीं कर पाया. क्यों? क्योंकि ये वायरस या जो भी माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म है, ये इसको अफेक्ट कर गया, खा गया. So entire your money, the money of a poor farmer or the money of the government also, in total, that's going for a drain out. और चाइना ने इनको ये बताया कि देखो, आपको तो मैं पहले लीज पे दे दिया, we have given you a lease, but now we want the full money within 3 days. China has given them 72 hours to repay back $8 million American dollar to People's Bank in China. This is the most important point. No one is discussing on that. Okay. Now, what happened? Within this 3 days of 8 million will be paid within 3 days. So the Sri Lankan government, they said, no, it's not possible for us to pay 8 million within 3 days. And we will, what they have done, all of a sudden, they put a ban on the Chinese bank, Chinese People Bank, slapping sanctions on the Chinese People Bank. And they also have done, they have returned the Chinese ship back to China. What happened? The Chinese ship has come to Sri Lanka, but they had blocked not to be entered. I mean, blocked to enter China, and it has not returned back to China. China also. In this span of time, China has already taken a lease of 99 years of the Sri Lankan port of Hambantota. So China, what have done? China said, okay, my ship has not returned back to China. So China started forcing by creating local riots and other things through its Chinese back channels. And eventually, Sri Lankan government has decided that they will pay 75% of the 8 million at compensation to Qingdao Seawind Biotech, despite Sri Lanka's foreign exchange crisis. As a result, the entire Sri Lankan government came under the fire of the people, because they don't have food, they don't have electricity, they don't have water, they don't have milk, and people are getting furious. That is the moment where India stepped in. India started providing Sri Lanka with financial backup, along with backup of organic fertilizers. So this is the situation. If India provide Sri Lanka organic fertilizers at a very nominal rate, initially at a very nominal rate for, let's say, for the 3 years, nominal rate, but from the 5th year or from the 4th year, we will charge a full rate. In that case, India will be at a beneficial state and Sri Lanka will be at India's behest of India. And we can definitely we'll be able to counter China by taking a major portion of Hambantota, from where India will operate from the Hambantota naval base. Because China, what Sri Lanka has done, initially Sri Lanka decided to give the Hambantota base to India, but later they have shifted, and they shifted under the collaboration and of the Chinese government conspiracy, and they're given that 99 years lease to Chinese government. So India can definitely barge in, and India is doing the right thing now, providing them the financial support, providing them the organic fertilizer support, and a lot many things are coming of the trade, of the records and on the records. So I believe that we can definitely fix that problem. It will take time, Amitji. It will definitely take time, because China is always famous for आपके घर पे जाके आपका खाना खाता है और निकल जाता है, और आपका खाना में जो भंडार होता है पूरा सुना रहता है. So China is famous for stealing and robbing people. China never been constructive, but always destructive in terms of geopolitics, in terms of relationship with neighbors. So China is very selfish and self-centric country, but India is not. India, from the time of its inception, Bharat is always there beside its neighbor. It will be there beside its neighbor, and we will see a very better Sri Lanka in the near future. That's the only thing I can say on this point.
Right, sir. Can you hear me, sir? मेरा आवाज आ रहा है?
Amitji, I can't hear you.
Then all the
Actually, क्या किए थे श्रीलंका ने? श्रीलंका said that okay, fine, I will make my own fertilizer, organic fertilizers. India बढ़ रहा है इतना, तो हम क्यों नहीं बढ़ सकते? That's a good idea. If you are self-esteem, nothing better than that. But self-reliant, nothing better than that. But what happened? Without making your platform, you cannot become a self-reliant country. India has taken a lot of struggle for that, to become a Make in India program, to start this Make in India program. Sri Lanka had the resources, but what he has done, Rajapaksha has a very close family connection with Xi Jinping. Okay, and as a result of that, being too cordial to Sri Lanka, and he thought, okay, fine, I will start doing organic fertilizer from instead of buying organic fertilizers from Belgium or America or Britain or any other country, I will do my own. Why not? So, and in that, in by which this way, I can stop the flowing out of American dollars to any other country. Rather, I will keep the dollar within myself.
Right.
तो एक पत्थर से दो पंछी को मारने का जो तरकीब इन्होंने यूज किया था, दैट बैकफायर ड्रास्टिकली.
ओके.
और इसके साथ साथ इंसिडेंट्स जो होता है, द इंसिडेंट्स केम इन दिस वे कि राजा पक्षे ऑन ए वेरी लाइटर मोड स्पोक टू शी जिनपिंग एंड सेड दैट आई एम थिंकिंग ऑफ डूइंग माय ओन. So Xi Jinping said, okay, fine, if you need any support, I will help you. राजा पक्षे बोला कि चलो ठीक है यार, बाहर से लेने से तो अच्छा है चाइना से लेंगे, सस्ता में मिलेगा और चाइना विल टेक केयर ऑफ मी. इतना अच्छा दोस्ती जो है हमारी. एंड विदाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग, विदाउट जजिंग द चाइनीज पॉलिसी, व्हाट ही हैज डन, इन्होंने ही हैज एक्सेप्टेड द डील. एंड व्हाट चाइना हैज डन, चाइना उनके सबसे बेहतरीन फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी क्विंडाओ सी विंग बायोटेक कंपनी को ये भार देता है, तो आप एक काम करो, फर्टिलाइजर प्रोवाइड करो टू श्रीलंका. बट
दिस इज नथिंग बट another bioweapon.
Another bioweapon. मजेदार बात ये है, इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट इज दिस, दैट दो Ceylonese पीपल नेवर रियलाइज हाउ डेंजरस इट इज कि इन्होंने क्या किया, बोला चलो ठीक है यार, सस्ता में मिलता है, ठीक है, मुझे कचौड़ी मिल रहा है 20 रुपया में, तो यार 20 रुपया में खाएंगे या मैं होटल पे जाके 50 रुपया खर्चा करेंगे. तो दे थॉट इट्स ओके, इकोनॉमिकल अच्छा है, तो दे से चलो भाई आ जाओ. अब देखिए, ऑलरेडी आफ्टर कोविड श्रीलंका हैज लॉस्ट 4.5 बिलियन अमेरिकन डॉलर. 4.5 बिलियन अमेरिकन डॉलर दे गॉट अ धक्का. और चाइना ने इसको कितने पैसे में बेच रहा था, 8 मिलियन अमेरिकन डॉलर. और चाइना का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्या था, 3 साल का. बट चाइना श्रीलंका से ऑन पेपर डील करवाते हैं 3 साल का, बट दैट विल एक्सटेंड फॉर नेक्स्ट 30 ईयर्स. क्योंकि देखिए, बार बार आपको सामान भेजा जा रहा है, सामान फेलियर आ रहा है, दोबारा आप उनको टेस्टिंग में भेजते हो, टेस्टिंग से दोबारा वापस जाता है, कंपनी बोलता है ठीक है डॉक्टर साहब मैं आपको अच्छा सामान देता हूं, दोबारा वही सामान वापस किया जाता है. सो दिस इज बेसिकली टाइम वेस्टिंग एंड मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, वन टाइप ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग. ठीक है, एक्सटॉर्शन, वन टाइप ऑफ एक्सटॉर्शन. तो क्या होता है कि श्रीलंका बोलता है कि नहीं, हम नहीं देंगे तुम्हें, क्योंकि इसमें एक वायरस मिलते हैं जिसका नाम है अर्विनिया माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म. ये अर्विनिया जो है, इट हेल्प्स इन क्रॉप फेलियर. मतलब 11th आवर पे क्रॉप फेलियर हो जाता है, द क्रॉप गेट्स फेलियर बिफोर द हार्वेस्ट, एंड दैट इज अ बिग शॉक टू द गवर्नमेंट एंड टू द फार्मर.
बट
गवर्नमेंट तो भी चलो ठीक है,
what does China get in having this particular whatever chemical you're mentioning? I mean, what is the benefit of China with that?
देखिए, the moment people become impotent, people become get affected with disease and other things, the strength and the strength of the people as well as the strength of the military become weaker, the country become weaker, and China slowly will take down these countries portion to portion. Portion by portion, China will start creating bases. China will control the Ceylonese people, rule, get out the minerals out of it. देखिए, Sri Lanka has a beautiful mineral. Sri Lanka and India both have the beautiful mineral of lithium. The Ram Setu connecting Sri Lanka to India, the Sri Lankan part also have huge quantity of lithium presence, precipitation in the sea water, and the same amount or more than that is available in the Indian sector also. So that is why the Chinese foreign minister came down to Sri Lanka. In the history of China, first Chinese foreign minister wearing a lungi with bare chest, giving puja to the devta and the gods and goddesses and the idols and the whatever the thing. Okay. This is the first time happened. So that was a very long time planning. Point number two, Sri Lanka's Hambantota port is a very essential and a very connecting point towards Southeast Asia, Gulf of Aden, Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, as well as to the South China Sea, so Malacca Strait. So that is a very vital portion of the port, very important port. So China has already got that port for 99 years of lease from Sri Lanka, which India opposed. Sri Lanka thought of giving India back to India, but no, the bonhomie between Xi Jinping and Rajapaksa has screwed his own life, his own governance, as well as his own career. And Sri Lanka is on the verge of mutiny right now. Even there might be a coup also. You don't know. Because the soldiers who are fighting for the president, even their families are dying. So at one point of time, even they will join the mutineer people of Sri Lanka, and they might go for a coup. We cannot rule out that possibility. Can we?
No.
And most importantly, Amit ji, this company, when Sri Lanka said, okay, fine, itna log mar gaya hai, matlab itna crop failure hua hai, we are in a loss. Rather, okay, stop payment. Stop the payment of the fertilizer to the Chinese farm. And they put sanction on the Chinese farm. That was the most drastic move Sri Lanka has done. And when the Chinese ship, yes, that makes China angry. And when the ship was coming to the Sri Lankan port, they didn't allow the Chinese ship inside Sri Lanka, and neither they let them go out to China. So
And
China gave a very strict warning.
That's not a very recent one, right? That happened something like a couple of years ago, isn't it?
No, in this time also.
Okay.
Even this time also. And what happened? China then sent a very strong message to Sri Lankan government. If you don't pay within 72 hours, we will take care of your country whichever way we could. Sri Lankan government shattered. They negotiated with the Chinese, and they decided of paying them 75% of 8 million. Matlab 6 million de dega.
Right, sir.
So that is the planning, and then they realized that there is a man sitting in Delhi who can definitely help them. And at the last time,
yes, and today we have the leader of opposition Sri Lanka में जो हैं साजिद प्रेमदासा, तो उनका भी रिक्वेस्ट आया है प्राइम मिनिस्टर को, मोदी जी को, एंड उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट किया, आई थिंक इट वाज यस्टरडे, that he has appealed जी to save and help in getting the country out of clutches. And somewhere I think ये responsibility भी है कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया की इसमें to take care of.
See, from geopolitics point of view, we cannot put China in the South China, in the Indian Ocean corridor.
Yeah.
So right now, India needs to send a huge flotilla of forces to take care and secure the Hambantota port. If you ask my opinion, Indian Navy and Indian Army should go there, and we take care of the Hambantota port, kick out the Chinese out of the port. We take care of the Hambantota, and after we secure the Hambantota port, then Hambantota port of Sri Lanka will be the anchorage for our dumping of our organic compound, organic fertilizers to the people of Sri Lanka, as well as to the food. ये एक tactical move है. This is a tactical move. To take down Sri Lanka, first we have to decide whatever we are providing to Sri Lanka should not deliver that to their Chinese bosses. That is the first option, assurance. And for that, the Sri Lankan government has to rely on its own principles. And both the parliamentarian committee of the opposition and the ruling Sri Lankan government should comply with the terms and conditions the government of India put across. India never put across something which will be very unethical, like China. India will definitely put something on a very constructive mode to build Sri Lanka again. And for that, first of all, India needs the Hambantota port. Until unless the Hambantota port been given to India, and we are able to put a joint base with the Sri Lankan Navy, and from there we can work. We don't need their port. We just need their port for joint operations and nothing else, which is more important. So once we have a joint operational base to work with, then from there we can build the Sri Lanka again. We can provide them the assistance. Our embassies, our humanitarian officials in Sri Lanka will be able to support the Sri Lankan people. Our scientists and agricultural group of people will be there to assist their agriculturists, and our organic fertilizers will help in growing of Sri Lanka. See, there are multifaceted pillars. One is finance, one is agriculture science, one is military technicians, military think tanks. We have to go parallelly to fix Sri Lanka. Otherwise, if we think for okay, हम लोग पैसा दे देंगे Sri Lanka ठीक हो जाएगा, it can never be. But before that, Rajapaksa should be kicked out of his government. So until unless we step in and we put Sajid as a national leader, Sri Lanka will never understand. But we are just waiting because see, we cannot go until unless Amitji, you invite me into your house. I cannot go and barge inside your house.
Right.
So I need the invitation from your side.
Right.
Correct. So that is the basic pro forma of how to help Sri Lanka.
Right.
And one point to be added, Amitji, India is not China. So India respect its neighbors always. ये हमारे but bad luck है कि Pakistan never reverted back in a very friendly manner, but we also respected Pakistan from our side. So we always have a good relation with Sri Lanka, so obviously we'll definitely grow this relationship better and we'll save the people of Sri Lanka for sure.
Right, sir. यहाँ पे हम आज का एपिसोड क्लोज करते हैं. We have to start the space also. So do join us on this. Thank you so much, sir. I think that was a very interesting conversation. We will have this followed up with a lot more आगे आने वाले समय में. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. और सभी हमारे दर्शकों से अपील है, एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, बेल आइकन दबाइए ताकि आपको नोटिफिकेशंस मिले नए. Thank you so much.
In fact, Bharat Speaks is Bharat Bose only.
Bharat Bose Speaks. Ji.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Ji.